Have you ever stopped to think that the food on your plate could be one of the most powerful tools you have for your mental health? It's kind of a revolutionary idea, right? Well, today we're diving into the really exciting new science that connects our diet directly to our mood. It's a field that's basically telling us what we eat is just as crucial for our minds as it is for our bodies. And that brings us to the big question, the one that changes everything. Can what we eat actually change the chemistry inside our brains? We hear a lot about chemical imbalances when we talk about depression, but what if the food we eat is a key part in bringing that whole system back into balance?
Okay, let's get into it. To really get this food-mood connection, you have to understand that food provides the literal physical building blocks for your brain's chemistry. And believe me, the link is way more direct than you probably think.
So, it all starts with these things called neurotransmitters. These are your brain's tiny chemical messengers. You've definitely heard of serotonin, right? It's often called the happy molecule. But here's the kicker. Your brain can't just whip up serotonin from thin air. It needs an ingredient called tryptophan, which is an amino acid that you can only get from the protein you eat, things like chicken or eggs or beans. Bottom line, if you don't have the raw materials, you can't make the final product. It's that simple.
I love this way of thinking about it because it simplifies a really complex process so perfectly. Imagine you're building a house. The proteins and the healthy fats you eat, those are your raw materials, the lumber, the bricks, the concrete. But you can't build anything without a construction crew. And that's where vitamins and minerals come in. They are the worker bees, the construction crew that assembles everything and actually gets the job done. You absolutely need both to build a healthy, functioning brain.
So you see, it's not just one thing. A nutrient-dense diet is working on so many fronts at once. It's building those critical neurotransmitters we just talked about. It's helping to calm down inflammation throughout your body and brain. It's fighting off daily cell damage, and it even provides the healthy fats that make up the physical structure of your brain cells. It's really a complete support system for your mind.
Okay, so that's the science behind it. But does it work in the real world? Well, let's look at the evidence from a huge study called the SMILES trial. This study put the whole theory to the test, using what's called a randomized controlled trial, which is pretty much the gold standard in scientific research.
The setup was actually pretty simple, but so powerful. They took a group of people who were all dealing with moderate to severe depression, and they split them into two groups. The first group, the control group, they just got social support. The other group, they were given help from a nutritionist to follow a modified Mediterranean diet. So the only major difference between the two groups was the food. And the results? Honestly, they were astounding. After just 12 weeks, 32%, that's nearly a third, of the people in the diet group achieved full remission. Let that sink in for a second. They no longer met the clinical criteria for depression simply by changing what they put on their plate. It's just a profound testament to the power of food.
So, what does this brain-healthy way of eating actually look like? Well, when you hear Mediterranean diet, you might just think of pasta and cheese, but it's so much more than that. The Mediterranean pattern is really more of a flexible blueprint for eating, not some strict, rigid diet.
And the main idea is just brilliant in its simplicity. You focus on adding, not on restricting. It's about loading up your plate with more colorful, whole plant foods, things like fruits, veggies, whole grains, and beans. It's about bringing in more healthy fats from things like nuts, seeds, olive oil, and especially fatty fish.
All right, let's break this down even further. Let's look at a few key nutrients that are absolute superstars for your brain and some really, really simple ways to get more of them into your life.
First up, blood sugar. We've all felt it, right? That giant spike you get from a sugary drink or a candy bar. It's almost always followed by a massive crash that can leave you feeling irritable, foggy, and just blah. But when you eat a whole food with fiber, like an actual apple instead of apple juice, that sugar gets released slowly into your system, which keeps your mood and your energy so much more stable.
Next, omega-3s. These are called essential fats for a reason. Your body cannot make them on its own, so you have to get them from your food. And here's the amazing part. Your brain cells are literally built out of these fats. Fatty fish like salmon and sardines are powerhouses. And if you're not a fish person, no problem. Walnuts, flax seeds, and chia seeds are also fantastic sources.
And we can't forget magnesium. It's surprisingly common to be low in this mineral, and that can mess with your sleep and your body's natural ability to calm itself down. But the good news is, it's super easy to find. Leafy greens, nuts, beans, all great. But pumpkin seeds are a true superstar here. Just one handful gives you a huge chunk of what you need for the day.
Okay, and here's a really simple one that we all tend to forget. Hydration. Your brain is mostly water, and it's one of the very first organs to feel the effects when you're dehydrated. Even being just a little bit dehydrated can show up as brain fog, fatigue, and just feeling cranky, so keep that water bottle close.
So, we have covered a lot of ground today. But if you walk away with just one single thing, one idea from all of this, please let it be this simple, gentle, and totally stress-free philosophy.
This is the most crucial point. When you're feeling low, the absolute last thing you need is another set of rules, more restrictions, or more reasons to feel guilty about what you're eating. The goal isn't to create more stress. It's to gently crowd out the less helpful foods by joyfully adding in more of the good stuff your brain is practically begging for.
And that brings us to one final powerful question, just for you. This is not about a massive overnight diet overhaul. It's about progress, not perfection. So just take a second and think, what's one small, brain-healthy thing you could add to your day today? Maybe it's a handful of walnuts with your lunch. Maybe it's adding some spinach to your dinner. Just remember, it's the small, consistent additions that really lead to big changes over time.